The other modification I have, and I talked to you guys about this, is I have an auto square mechanism. So on what you're supposed to do, properly set up a ShopBot, you've got these stop blocks back here. And the gear in your motor, when you turn on your ShopBot, what you're supposed to do is before you lock the steppers up, if you have that yellow bar back here, you're supposed to pull it tight so that this side and this side of the gantry rest tight up against those blocks. And you do that, and you power your machine on, and that'll square it. And that'll only square it if you've actually done the squaring procedure and set these blocks properly. And that's actually a really good way to square a machine. The problem with it, if you want to get like super accurate about it, is that when you pull a motor that's unlocked tight against these, and you lock it up, if you're kind of halfway in between a step of the motor might try to walk backwards a step or walk forwards a step. So it's not like totally accurate. So I actually, with the help of my friend Gary, I added an auto squaring system, and it's actually pretty simple. So it starts with this. So basically if you've got an RBK controller board, there's a jumper right here. And this is what locks the X1 and X2 steppers together. So as you know, you've got a stepper motor over here and a stepper motor over here, and they turn in unison, and your gantry moves up and down the table. If you pull this stepper, this jumper pin right here, pull the jumper, whatever it's called, it'll actually shut off, I believe it's your X2 stepper. So if you pull that and you try to run your machine, your gantry, only one of your motors will run, and your gantry will rack across the table, which is obviously something that you don't want. So what I've done here is I've actually taken the jumper out and run it to this relay that's right here that's connected to one of the ShopBot outputs. So I can actually, with one of the outputs in the ShopBot software, shut off my far stepper motor. And I can show you here, if I go in, I've got this hooked up to output 8, and if you watch carefully, let's see if I can get this on camera, I'm going to jog on X very slowly. So see how I'm racking my gantry back and forth? I'm actually twisting it like an inch, and that's because the far stepper is turned off. Now if I turn that stepper back on by way of this output, and whoop, nope, I don't want to do that. Let's see. There we go. So that stepper is turned back on. Now when I jog, both steppers are running in unison. So that's like part one of the auto square system, the ability to rack it back and forth. The second part is I've actually added a proximity sensor both on this side and, as you saw before, on the far side of the gantry. Normal ShopBots only have one single sensor to do the C3 routine. So what happens when I do my zeroing routine, the gantry actually moves back and it measures the distance between this sensor and the one that's over there. So it can measure like how far apart they are. And I have that preset at a number. And then what it does, it goes, okay, well, if we know that we're currently this far apart, but we actually need to be this much, it will unlock one of the steppers and twist the gantry back into square, and then relock the stepper. So once you power it up, it actually just, again, automatically squares your gantry with the accuracy of the stepper motors instead of just having to rely on that metal block right there. And not only is it a little bit more accurate, but it's like automatic, which